blood pressure up. That's the perfect time for me to introduce our new segment, and it's gonna just be called the Rant. So this is going to be a very simple segment every week, or that we do this segment. It's very simplified. You get a 4 to 5 minute rant to discuss whatever is the sports hot button topic that you want to talk to. Think Jim Rome is burning, okay? Well, right now Antonio Gibson is burning. All right, so since you already brought up the Eagles, I'm gonna let that die. That's not gonna be my rant for this week. My rant for this week is I'm gonna relitigate the process. Okay, so for those who don't know, I am a diehard Sixers fan, and I really became an even more so diehard fan, far more invested when Sam Hinkie was hired and began the process of tearing down the Sixers and rebuilding it to be a championship contending team. Okay, but because the media was not a fan of Sam Hinkie and the fact that he wasn't really communicative with the media, they thought what he was doing and tanking so openly was bad for the NBA. Um, they really heard the term process and they ruined it. You know what I'm saying? They tarnished it every chance you got. You heard Stephen A. Smith talking about if Sam Hinkie was black, he wouldn't have had his job. Like a whole bunch of just ridiculous stuff that really disrespected what was going on, right? So right now, when you look at it, the process doesn't have the respect and history that it deserves. And I'm tired of every single year when somebody gets fired, they say, is this the end of the process? So let me take you back, guys. The process has been over for 4 years almost. Okay, the process ended the day Sam Hinkie resigned / was fired. The process was what he was doing for the Philadelphia 76ers. The process died the minute Jerry Colangelo was forced upon the Sixers by Adam Silver, and he did the most nepotism thing I've ever seen and hired his crappy son to be the next general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers. So let me explain this, okay? Brian Colangelo invested came in and inherited, I should say, the number 1 overall pick that ended up being Ben Simmons. Brian Colangelo came in, and guess what? Joel Embiid was already on the roster. He had already had 2 foot surgery. Sorry, I'm struggling with words. That's how angry I am right now. Okay. Those were not things that Brian Colangelo created. All right. He also inherited a roster that had Nerlens Noel and Jahlil Okafor. And instead of trading them at the highest part of their trade value, he held on to them. He held on to Nerlens and told the league, we have to trade one of them. Told the league, we got to trade one of these guys. And then was shocked that he didn't get any real trade offers. So you traded Nerlens Noel for a fake first-round pick that was top like 24 protected. I've never even seen a protection on a first-round pick that was that high. Okay, so it wasn't a real first-round draft pick for a struggling Dallas team. Then you keep Jahlil Okafor. People forget he tried to trade Jahlil Okafor, sent him home from a road game in Charlotte because the trade was imminent, and then didn't trade him. This man was incompetent and held back the process. He inherited the pick that became Ben Simmons. He inherited Joel Embiid. He inherited T.J. McConnell, Robert Covington. Inherited those guys. Those were not pickups or moves made by him. That's the part you guys got to understand. So everybody says, is the process dead? The process was dead when you gave a 1-year, $17 million deal to J.J. Redick, because that's not something Sam Hinkie would have done. You lose optionality by only having your best and only shooter signed for 1 year. So now you got to re-sign him again for a 2-year deal. Okay, cool. Wait, you didn't. You re-signed him for 1 again. 1 year again, every year. So now you don't have your best shooter in 2 years. Great, smart, genius. Not. Okay, the process was a simple plan. It was get as many draft picks as possible, what OKC is doing now, and get star players. In the NBA, you either have star players or you don't have star players. For the teams that don't have star players, you're stuck. Everybody's talking about how bad the Sixers were for tanking. They only had their starting lineup before the tank began was Drew Holiday. It was Evan Turner. It was Spencer Hawes. It was Thaddeus Young. It was Kwame Brown at center. You understand what I'm saying? Like the roster was never going to compete for a second round berth in the playoffs, let alone a championship, which is the goal, correct? Goal is championships. Was not at all constructed to do so. So Sam Hinkie came in and said, we need stars. And guess what? It worked. The process worked, guys. The process was to get you star players. You got Joel Embiid, top 10 player. Basically, if you can sign a deal that gets you a signature shoe, you're a star. That worked. And I need people to realize it died the day Sam Hinkie resigned.
I like that. I like that. No, because for real, and to be honest, that rant is more for those, and he knows this. Those Sixers fans who I used to call bandwagoners. They jumped on the process at the end. They weren't there from the beginning. They weren't there during the actual planning of the actual process. They just jumped on once they saw Ben and Joel, and they're the ones who are the ones that keep saying, "Oh, is the process over?" So it's not people outside of Philadelphia who usually say that, except for ESPN. Except for ESPN.
Bandwagon fans, but those bandwagon fans are the problem because they keep people in charge who shouldn't be. So I'm just calling them out right now. Scott O'Neil. Scott O'Neil is a guy who's supposed to just be head of marketing and running the Sixers from that side, but is taking credit for the fact that they raised season tickets over the past couple of years, saying, "Oh, it's because of the marketing outreach they did." Bull crap. It's because you got two superstars on your team. People want to pay to go see Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Scott O'Neil didn't do anything. No marketing plan is that good. Okay, because guess what? Nobody was going there when you didn't have superstars. They had to keep re-signing Allen Iverson's corpse to get people to come to the stadium. Okay, like nobody was going to see the Sixers. Then you got two superstars, and suddenly, Philly cares again about basketball. A lot of people have benefited and taken credit for improving the Sixers as a whole off of the work done by literally two guys. Joel Embiid first, Ben Simmons second. It's that simple.
Literally. Listen, I have nothing to say. Well, first of all,
I agree. And then you have people that, I was at the time, I was one of the people who were hard on the process. I don't know if you remember. I hated I hated the process, but now I see. You don't get, even though I still think Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid have a lot to work on, and they're not quite there yet enough to win you a championship. But you don't have close to that if you don't have the process. Like you don't. You're stuck. You're the Knicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless you land a superstar, and in certain places, superstars don't go.
And superstars weren't coming to Philly.
They don't go. Right. Yeah, they weren't coming to Philly. We got close to landing LeBron.
Well, here's my question too. Like, now this is my question because you guys are obviously Sixers fans. Do you feel that the fan base hurts the recruiting of stars sometimes because of?
No, I think that's very much overblown. Because fan bases in general, Philly's an intense fan base. Yes.
Oh, I'm aware.
Fan bases in general, I believe, are overblown on signing a star. Especially in the NBA. I believe, your market size is big. And what the ownership group, because Houston struggling with that right now, right? Tillman Fertitta, his political views may or may not be causing a rift in that locker room. We're not going to get into that. But, his political views seem to be hurting him. What is your ownership willing to spend? What luxuries? Like, everybody talks about how great of an owner Mark Cuban is because he spends so much money on, like, the practice facility, the locker room, so guys feel comfortable and want to hang out. Like, stuff like that is more important. And then, to be honest, is it hot? Players want to live in Miami. They want to live in LA. Stuff like that. That hurts Philly more than anything. It's cold. It'd be snowing.
Right. It's not Florida. It's not LA. But I do think players, they want to play with other stars. They want to play where it would be easier for them and they want to win. Unless you're a player like LeBron who, no matter where he goes, he knows that the winning is going to follow him. So he can choose wherever he wants to go depending on how he wants to live his life. But I feel like other players are going somewhere where they want to win. They want to be other stars. Like James Harden, he wants to go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a new market, but it's Brooklyn. It's New York. It's a big market. And it's cold. But he wants to go be with Kevin Durant because he wants to win.
Yeah,
wants,
you get over a lot of coldness when you got KD and
right.
on your team.
Right. So that was a good rant. I like that. I like that. I like you, finally setting the record straight too. Because like I said, you'll hear a lot of random rah rah rah, not the non-true fans come out and be like, the process.
That's been over. It's done.
Yeah.
Dead.
Didn't JoJo even text and said like the process been over or something like that? Didn't he
JoJo
tweet
is the process now. Literally, it's his nickname.
Yeah, that's what his nickname.
That's the only process left.
I know, but I think he didn't. I felt like he tweeted like a year or two ago. He said, "Yo, it's been over." Like,
yeah, when they're trading for Tobias Harris and
trading
trying to get superstars
and signing out Horford. That's not the process.
Y'all had Burner Boy Brian over there tweeting and stuff.
Ruined it.
Front office
nightmare.
So